to this now. There's been widespread outrage at Eskom's proposed new tariff structure. Now, a service fee of almost R1,000 is being proposed. This is just to connect you to the grid. Now, Eskom says the current structure is outdated. So let's discuss this with the utilities' Shirley Salvoldi, joining us right now to give some clarity. Shirley, thank you so much for your time and good morning to you. First of all, why this proposal? Why is it important for Eskom?
Good morning to you and your viewers. It's important because if you look at how tariffs have
Oh, Shirley, I'm losing you there.
Okay.
Yes, you may speak again.
Can
you may
you
speak,
hear
Shirley.
me?
I can hear you now. I think there was a network problem there.
Okay, sorry.
Sure.
Yeah. So, yes, tariffs need to be updated, as you said, modernized, because the way our tariffs work are based on a very old paradigm, an old, the electricity industry has actually changed a lot over the last 10 years, and we last made tariff structural changes 10 years ago. This is not meant to increase the tariffs for customers. This is just really a rebalancing of the charges. So charges at the moment, you have an energy charge or an inclining block rate where you pay more at higher blocks. And in those higher blocks, you actually have other costs included, like network costs. And a network is a fixed cost. It's there when you need it, when you lead on the grid. It needs to be available. And if you don't pay your fair share for the use of the grid, it means you start to become subsidized. And especially, the 900 Rand has really been blown out of proportion because the average customer is going to pay exactly the same as what they are. What the solar users, then others say you have solar installed or not. Yeah. This is not meant to increase the tariffs, but it does mean some people will pay more and some will pay less, because that's what happens when you do a tariff change.
Right, and I understand that you found this resolution after you had conducted an updated cost of supply study. And I understand this approach, was dating far back as 2012.
Yes, so every time we do a structural change, we need to do a cost of supply study. And what this does is it really just takes Eskom's approved costs, what nurses approved we can recover, and it allocates those costs amongst different customer categories. So yes, 10 years ago was the last time we actually made any structural changes. And we've now done an updated cost of supply, which means now energy reflects energy costs, network reflects transmission and distribution costs, and obviously service costs. And then we just allocate it to all the customers, yes.
Right. Because you had cut off there earlier on, Shirley, just for clarity's sake, take us through the amount and also just briefly how you got to that amount, that price proposal.
Okay, so how we get to the amounts is obviously through the cost of supply study. So we work out what it actually costs. And if you're looking at fixed costs, probably the average residential customer's fixed costs is in the region of 1,500 Rand a month. So we did not want to go and say 1,500 Rand a month for fixed cost. We looked at putting some of our fixed costs as variable, which means you recover it through your consumption, and the others is based on the size of your supply. So all customers have a particular circuit breaker size or transformer size, and we will then base the charges on that installed capacity. So it's based on taking our network costs and allocating them to all customers based on where they're located on the network and also on their installed capacity. So we have to understand a residential customer, for example, uses the most assets, right from the power station right down to the low voltage, where bigger customers have less assets, but they take more. So for our larger customers, we already have network charges. For our residential customers, we have a very small network charge at the moment. And we have to understand that 900 Rand was an example of a suburban household that uses 25 kVA, and that's a big supply, a big three-phase customer. We don't believe it's an unrealistic amount.
All right.
And like I said, the average customer is going to pay the same as what they pay at the moment.
All right, Shirley. Well, I appreciate you, of course, coming on to the South African Morning and just giving us some clarity on this, because there's been outrageous, I suppose, also in lack of understanding exactly how this pricing structure came about. But Shirley Salvoldi, Eskom's Shirley Salvoldi, joining us there to give us more of that clarity.